After every single Republican in both the House and the Senate voted against last week's stimulus package that would lift 16 million Americans out of poverty, the Democratic Party is left with one option only. And that option is that from now until the 2022 midterms, they have to go it alone. They cannot sit there and just wait for Republicans to do the right thing or even expect Republicans to work for them. If they can't get a single Republican to support a stimulus package, again, to lift 16 million people out of poverty, to send $1,400 stimulus checks to, almost half the country, to provide funding for states, red and blue alike. In fact, red states actually get a few dollars more than the blue states. But either way, if they can't even get Republicans to sign on that, to sign on to legislation, to vote yes for legislation that actually helps their constituents, then to hell with them. Push forward without them. And that's a difficult decision to make, to be perfectly honest with you. These people that we send to Congress want bipartisanship. But the Democrats are not the ones who threw bipartisanship out the window. No, that was Republicans. They did it during the Obama years. They did it during the Bush years too, but they did it extensively through the Obama years. They did it during the Trump years, pushing forward with their agenda, ignoring the objections of Democrats. And now, even though this stimulus package is basically kind of the same thing that happened under Trump, now they're suddenly against it. So to hell with them. And yeah, that means it's going to be difficult to really get anything done. But I promise you, if you try to work with Republicans, it becomes impossible to get anything done. So Democrats can make the choice right now. Do you want it to be hard or do you want it to be impossible? Because there is no reasoning with these individuals. Their only goal is to make sure that the Democratic Party fails. They don't care about the cost to the American public. They don't care if it drives more people into poverty. They don't care if nothing good happens for the American public and that we continue to suffer. As long as it means the Democratic Party can't be successful in anything, the Republicans are okay with letting that happen, regardless of how many other individuals suffer along the way. So stop it. Stop trying to work with these individuals. Do what you did with the stimulus package and move forward without them. Now, of course, there is another wrench in the works there, right? Joe Manchin is that wrench, because Joe Manchin said last week that this stimulus package is the only piece of legislation he is going to vote yes on that doesn't have some Republican support. So Joe Manchin is trying to make it clear that he's not going to go with Democrats again if they don't at least have one Republican willing to vote with them. And that's because Joe Manchin believes that he has to go back to West Virginia and pitch himself as a moderate, saying, hey, I tried to work with Republicans and Democrats and nobody wanted to work with me. Yeah, not exactly a good sales pitch when you go back to your voters and say, nobody wants to work with me. Why don't you send me back so I can keep being totally useless for you? But unfortunately, that's the situation we're in. And that also brings up another point. Why are Democrats, especially when compared to Republicans, so horrible at getting their own people in line? Why do we have a viral clip of Kyrsten Sinema voting down a $15 minimum wage with her cutesy little Yeah, that shouldn't exist. If the Democrats in the Senate were doing their job, that video wouldn't exist because that vote wouldn't have happened. But it does, and the vote did happen, and here we are. Democrats know the way forward. Chuck Schumer admitted as much a week ago. They know they can't work with Republicans. The trick now is to just stop trying and move forward.